Welcome to the Rich Bitch Show. I'm your host, Candice Lee, a soulful multi-six-figure business mentor helping you create next-level wealth and alignment in your life and business. I believe that having a high-quality business that delivers high-quality results will feed a life and future of wealth, health, happiness, and abundance from wherever you want in the world. I'm here every week to help you vibe higher, reclaim your power, and create the reality and wealth that you truly desire. So let's get started.
Welcome back, guys. Here we go. Haley says, "Hi, Candice. I'm a new naturopathic doctor. I want to build an online coaching business alongside my in-person practice so I can reach more people. The thing is, I only have about 2 hours a day to dedicate to coaching because I will also be working with patients. I love your stories, so I wanted to ask you, what's the best way to start bringing in clients online without taking up too much of my time?"
I love this. One, thank you. And thank you for sending these in. Okay, we see this so often. I'm going to give this to you super straight, and I'm going to give you a couple of different examples because we serve obviously a lot of naturopathic doctors, practitioners, osteopaths, acupuncturists. When I say I've seen it all at this point, we've pretty much seen it all at this point. And it's about blending and getting crystal clear. So let's always start there. Clarity creates certainty. So crystal clear on what does your ideal, I'm going to say week, look like. I don't think it's very reasonable to break this down to an ideal day. Just knowing the clients we've served already, each day looks slightly different, right? When you're serving people in in-person practice and then you want to be serving people virtually, getting crystal clear. What do you want your week to look like? How do you want that to be structured? And how do you want to be of service would be the first one. And I would build from that vision. So this is where, again, like remove that noise, get out of the chaos of the industry and really tune into what makes sense for what your client needs and how you want your week to look. The build, you build for it. So what most clients have done in this situation is gone more of, surprise, surprise, a high ticket revolving door space where you're on either a weekly or a bi-weekly high touch group session. You might be on 2 of them by the time this space kind of evolves. You know, a lot of our clients get to the point where they have got 1 to 2 cohorts on the go within that space. So they're showing up let's say once a week. Some of them are bi-weekly. And you're showing up on these group calls and you're of service during that 1 hour or 2 hours. And outside of that, the only thing you really have to take care of on a daily basis is your DMO, right? Which really shouldn't take you more than an hour. So you've got your mark. We've talked about this on plenty of podcasts, so I'm not going to go too deep. Go into our 3-hour day. Kevin's pulled all of this out of me, but you want to go into, oh my gosh, sorry, your DMO. So your marketing. So do you have a post scheduled to go out that day? I've been loving scheduling my posts on Instagram, by the way, you guys. So I schedule them out like at least 2 weeks in advance. So your post is scheduled to go out. You've got an alarm set for Instagram stories. This is literally behind the scenes of my life right now, you guys. I've got an alarm that's set, so I sit down, I do my story marketing. I'm obviously popping on throughout the day and sharing little things as well. Letting you guys in on like the rebrand that's been going on, that by the time you get this, we're on the other side of it. But you're popping in and out. So you've got stories, you've got client service. So do these clients inside of this container that you're creating for them that you know is geared for their result. Go back to our recent podcast all about creating a high ticket offer. That's going to help you get really clear on what that might actually look like. So do you have a group chat that you are supporting inside of Monday through Friday, or some of my clients Tuesday to Thursday? Do you have, what type of client support is happening on the daily? And then outside of that, it's any other needle moving tasks. And this is going to depend on your vision. Do you have email marketing going out? Are you on a podcast? Is there any other moving components to your business? When you're starting, none of that's overly necessary.
Keep it simple. Yeah. Just do as little as possible. Do it right.
Do it right. Be so intentional. Don't just wing this. If you have 2 hours a day, be so intentional, so responsible with those 2 hours, and really responsible setting up the business side of things too. So that when you're in practice, you're not spiraling in your mind. You can actually be present in practice. And when it's time to coach, you can switch that hat and put on that coach hat and be, in your coaching business. So that's how, a lot of our clients have gone about this in many different ways. I'm sure, Kevin, you've got some like questions to pull out of me from their perspective.
Yeah, so I would say even before we go deeper into like the step-by-step DMOs, tell her about taking care of your energy. Because if she's seeing clients in person and showing up online, it's double important to really be grounded in herself and her vision and what she knows to be true before she goes and overflows into other people from whatever place she's in.
Absolutely, especially as a woman and as like a, somebody who's a menstruating body, like you want to be making sure that you're supporting the ebbs and flows of your energy, your output, all of the things that we know go into place of being all of the things. So I would say to really, that's why I like starting with clarity, because if you're starting with clarity, you're going to build into certainty. And that clarity goes as deep as like, what are my values behind this? Why? What does that get to mean for me? What does that get to mean for the collective, for the humans that I'm here to support? And grounding into that as often as you can. So something that I love doing and I would say to support a lot of my busier clients. So clients that are in a season of the build where, you aren't at that point yet where you're working 2 hours a day. You're just not there. You're building for it. Is you want to have something to ground you in that's not going to obviously take a ton of effort. You don't have time right now when you're running in-person practice and building an online presence and an online business to do, 2 hours of tapping, a visualization, making sure your feet are up on the wall, you hit the red light in the sun. You don't. You have to make sure that you're doing really intentional, effective practices for your energy that you notice really support you. So I would be intentional with that. Create an audio clip. So I'm a journaler. I'm someone who loves to write it out. And once I write it out and I'm like, yes, this is it, I will then actually voice note it to myself. And my first morning alarm, when my morning alarm goes off in the morning, it says, I'm going to read it. But
You
it
read this
reminds
every morning.
me,
How do you forget?
good morning, rich bitch. Listen to your audio, shake, and start the day. So I will like jump and wake my lymphatic system up, do some dry brushing, but I always wake up. I'm laying in bed. I'm literally listening to myself talk about my most perfect day. So it's an audio that we have inside of our vault for our members, and you can listen to it and go through it every single day or kind of create that practice. Yeah, we'll put that below. It's inside of the membership. So you can get instant access to that. It's a wealthy self-identity. And when you are like, I think mine is 7 minutes. 7 minutes, and it completely changes the tone of my day, my perspective, how I think about myself, how I view what I'm doing, the work that I'm doing, where I put my focus. I'm not waking up and doom scrolling. I'm not dropping the kids off and then numbing out and scrolling social media. Like, I'm being so intentional because I know what my peak working hours are, where my energy is best at, and how to keep it there. So I'm doing everything I can to support that. And that is going to be very bio-individual. That's going to be unique to you, but pay attention to that. If you're someone who's still trying to figure out what activates you, try a week of just a meditation, try a week of tapping, try a week of journaling and visualizing, or journaling in front of your red light. That's like my go-to. Find something that can maybe habit stack, but also support you, and don't feel like you have to do all of the things.
Yeah.
Just because Spiritual Sally says that, she has 3 hours in the morning to make sure she's doing her Kundalini yoga and her this and that and the other thing, you have to be intentional about viewing the season that you're in and asking what would be the most responsible thing I could do for my energy in this season, given what I know is true and what I want to be true for me.
Absolutely. Find like the best thing that works for you and do it consistently. So
Consistently. And I think,
you are.
yeah, given what you said about, she's leaving one space and going into another space. Like, what can you do to cut the energetic cords of your day in person before you're serving online? So one of my clients who's in the osteopathic space, she has a day where she's not in clinic, and that obviously really supports her mission online, where she's creating her content, she's meeting us on the membership call, she's having discovery calls of her own, or application calls we call them, and she's just doing those things. So she has a day allocated for certain things that she knows, okay, this is a great way to use that space and that time that I have in my calendar, so that the rest of my week, everything is scheduled, everything is set. I just simply have to show up when allocated. So whether it's a weekly call, a bi-weekly call. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Haley, if you have the ability to implement something like that in your business, highly recommend it. And like Candace was saying before, batching tasks is everything. Scheduling content is everything, because it keeps you off the app. It keeps you this space where you can live your life and support your clients without having to open the door to the World Wide Web, to step onto the internet on Instagram and start immediately just getting inundated with everything that's on there. It allows
Hitting
you
you
to
left, right,
set
and
it up.
center. I think I truly, and you know this, Kevin, because I've been saying this for years, but I think the best thing you can do for your quality of life and the quality of your impact is stay off the fucking app. Like, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? Are you scrolling it while you're listening to this? Like, catch yourself, start to bring some responsibility and intentionality into the life that you are creating. And we're so inundated with it. And it's so second nature at this point that we really have to become conscious of what we're consuming, how often we're consuming. Is what we're consuming even aligned? Does it make us feel in our power, or is it actually diminishing our power? Because visibility doesn't mean being on the app constantly. I actually would say it's been the opposite for me, and I'm a lot more potent when I show up and a lot more intentional and direct when what I'm creating is done behind the scenes and it's batch, and I'm able to then bring it forward, as well as obviously sprinkling in my life. Like, those moments are raw and authentic, but when it comes to your marketing and your messaging and the intentionality behind the brand representation, you don't have to be on the app for that. And you certainly don't have to see what Sally and Joey are doing either.
With the like responding to DMs as well, like when the
Yeah.
inbounds are coming in. So I say this exact same thing to my clients on the relationship and dating space.
Yeah.
You want to, as a man or as a woman, you want to have a rich, fulfilling life where you're not constantly on your phone. I don't ever tell my clients like, oh, you should play games and wait X amount of time before you text back. It's just you should
Yeah.
be doing enough stuff that you actually text back when you have time, and then you show up ready to give your undivided attention to somebody because you give your undivided attention to everything that you do. And so it's the exact same way when you have these inbound DMs, right? You say, DM
Yeah.
me success and we'll get you started with this program. When those DMs come in, if you have, oh my God, if you have your notifications on for
Yeah.
Instagram,
We have a first problem.
you're fucked. You're done. You're not like, dude, turn those off right now. But if you are fielding every DM that comes into your inbox, as soon as it comes into your inbox, you're in chaos, nervous system chaos at all times. And so you
At
have to
all.
turn off those notifications, set the time. Maybe it's like, I've seen people do it once a day. I personally do it like once a day or every other day. I've seen people do it twice a day. That's fine. I've even seen people with crazy inboxes who do it for, 2 minutes at the top of every hour. But they have a system and they stick to it because if
Yeah.
you let the chaos creep in, it will, because it's out there. And so you
It
just
will
stay
consume
focused
you.
on it.
Especially because we're getting dopamine hits from this. We're getting like, this isn't as like, your business is an extension of you. And this is obviously a big topic that we're having when we're scaling, because we're scaling not just your business, but who you are. But you have to be willing to detach from the external side of that side of the business, the social media, the instant gratification, the comment. Who cares who's liking? You just stay so committed to the message, sending it home, being unapologetic, allowing yourself to be seen and heard, knowing that that can happen when you are off the app, because the alarm has gone off, you've done the thing, and now you can get off of it. Perfect. I actually caught this on the weekend and I was like, I really started reflecting. So I had the kids the past weekend. We did like a nice like 6-day stretch. It was
Nice.
so good for my mama heart. It was so good. And we had like all the things. And I was pretty off the app. Ask Kevin, actually. I was pretty absent everywhere. I've been one of my paying clients. He's like, are you alive? I've sent you so many boxers. So when I have my kids, I have built, this brings so much up because I've had so many really good conversations this week. But when I've built in a way that my value was a rich life, and to me, a rich life consisted of presence, quality, connection, intentionality. And I have built in a way that supports all of that to coexist in every area of my life. And I'm so freaking grateful that I did that. And obviously for my crumble moments prior to that. But this past weekend, we were like doing our thing, having fun, whatever else. And I forget what it was. If it was at some point in the afternoon, I opened my email because I was actually looking for something from my dad. And I seen, new private application, new application, new application. And I was like, oh, beautiful. I kind of like tuning into your guys' names. So like, just so you know, when you message me, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not going to say them out loud, like their names. And I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I'm so excited to chat with them. And I closed the email app, guys. Okay. And then I went back to my kids and I wasn't like, 1 second, guys, mommy has to respond to this. Like, this is urgent. I'm not ingraining them with that. I'm not normal. I refuse. And as I went back downstairs to our toy room where we were literally just playing mini sticks and dolls, like being real humans just like you at home. I was like, oh my gosh, 5 years ago, that would have ruined me. 5 years ago, I would have felt this need to like instantly respond, make sure that I was people pleasing, make sure I was going above and beyond. And really, I'm like, I have a process that I follow in my business for my sales. We call them your unique sales process. Every single one of us has one that's in aligned with your values, your ideal day, how you want this process to go. And we have a process in place when somebody reaches out and applies. And it's not that I'm going to ignore you or that I'm going to put it off for days, but if you apply on a weekend, you can expect to hear back from me first thing Monday morning. And that's what I did, is I stayed in integrity with that. And all weekend, I got to have this smile on my face, knowing that I got to have beautiful conversations with these individuals in the coming days. And you get to have that feeling that you just got of like, oh my gosh, imagine I got to go around all weekend with this feeling that on Monday I get to have beautiful conversations. You can tap into that at any given time. At any given time. Telling client the other day, it's just like, can you activate me before the week? And this is like my favorite. So just like kick you gently, but intentionally in the ass. And I'm like, yeah, because don't forget that while you're with it, she was like, I have my 3 kids, like just letting me into the world. A little bit of overwhelm was being felt. I'm like, go be present, have the best fucking week of your life. Because when you get out of the car, you could be getting a sale. When you're doing the dishes, somebody could be reaching out. When you're putting the kids to bed, when you're taking care of yourself, when you're on your hot girl walk, like we need to stop blocking the situations we want to happen from happening mentally. And that's where the freedom and the building and actually freeing yourself, not just financially, but mentally in my world is so important and so valuable to me because I've experienced both.
100%. You got all that, Haley?
Take action, girl.
Okay, future millionaires, thanks for hanging out with me in today's episode. I cannot wait to hear your takeaways from it. If you haven't yet, take a quick screenshot and share this to your stories. Tag me so that I can shout you out for elevating and showing up for yourself. I want you to remember you were born deserving of a wealthy life, and now it's time to create it.